Dr. Shana.
Dr. Shana Lewis.
Dr. Shana D. Lewis.
Dr. Shana Lewis.
Oh, Dr. Shana D. Lewis.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 5 of Power Moves, the podcast. This is the show for experts and practitioners and entrepreneurs who are ready to leverage your genius and finally get paid what you are worth beyond life and business. I am your host, Dr. Shana. I am your brand therapist, and I help experts and practitioners just like you who are really ready to build bankable brands well beyond traditional practice. And so I just say welcome back to this episode. We've been having a great time thus far on this live podcast show. And I tell y'all it's live every week. So you understand if anything happens, it happened live. You found out when I found out that it was a problem. Now I'm going to tell you the one issue we've been having for the last 5 weeks is these lights kept going off. I am told that they should be fixed. We're going to see together if they are completely fixed today. But with that said, I'm excited about today's episode. For the last couple of weeks, we've been really dealing with some business, right? And I've been talking to you about how you can build your business in various ways by making certain power moves. Well, here's what I know. This show is not just about business. It's also about the life side, because if you do not make certain power moves in your life, your business is going to have a problem, okay? And so we're going to deal with some life power moves today that we need to make in order to truly show up really in power in our business, okay? So get your pen, get your paper. We're dropping some gems today, family, on this episode of Power Moves. So let's get into it. So here's the thing. One of the things that I have talked about a lot over the years is really about boundaries. We have this conversation or this concept, and many of you have heard this before, that folks will tell you, you need to have a work-life balance. Have you heard that? Get in the comments and tell me, yes, I've heard that before. I hear it all the time. Let me know you're here by sharing that in the comments. Now, what I understand is that work-life balance, can I raise my hand and tell you, does not exist? Why doesn't it exist, Dr. Shana? It doesn't exist because if you're talking about something that's balanced, that means I got half on this side, half on this side, or something of the sort, right? Like it matches. Well, really, work and life doesn't match like that. And so we really find ourselves struggling to create a concept that doesn't really exist. And so we feel like we failed because we couldn't create the thing that actually wasn't the thing that could be created. So I want to talk today about the concept that I think is more real and true and give us some actual tips, strategies to use to make this happen. This is what I like to call boundaries that create harmony and integration between your work and your life. Okay, where you get to create limits like an expert because you understand where these boundaries lie and what you need to be doing inside of them and what other folks need to be doing outside of them. But we're going to get to that in just a minute. So let's just really lay the playing field about what is a boundary. You and I have heard this concept. It gets used a lot in our society. You need boundaries. You need boundaries. Okay, yes, we all need boundaries, but many of us have been under the impression that the boundaries were set against other people so that they know where they're supposed to be. Now, I understand road striping in the line tells everybody where they're supposed to be, but this is what I need you to understand. The boundaries that need to be set are not for other people. I'll wait. The boundaries that need to be set are not for other people. The boundaries, my expert friends, are for you. The boundaries are for you. The rules are for them. Okay, so you're going to learn today how to set boundaries for yourself that then turn into the rules you set for other people and other components of your world so that you have more harmony and integration in your life and business. Okay, what happens when we create these boundaries and these rules is they are there to protect our mental health. They're there to protect our emotional selves. They're there to protect our productivity and all of the outcomes we all say we want as business owners and entrepreneurs, but we just haven't done anything specifically and intentionally to make those things happen. Now, what I want you to understand, as I said this earlier today, actually in a post, where many of us are out here making power moves in business, but we are not protecting our emotional and mental selves. And today's episode is going to teach you precisely how to protect your mental health, your emotional well-being, and your overall well-being through some self-care practices and some other boundaries we get to set for ourselves that turn into rules for who? Other people. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Question for you though. Get in the comments if you have a moment to, whether you're live or you're watching this on the replay. What would you think are some of the consequences if we don't have work-life harmony or integration? What happens if we don't have these boundaries and rules in our world? What do you think are the outcomes? Now, I love to hear what your thoughts are, but I'll tell you the things that come up for me often with clients when I'm working with folks, and even in my own experience, because I am going through this process with you as we speak, is overwhelm, being stressed out, low productivity, feeling like you're turning your wheels, not understanding what needs to happen next, and you're frustrated. Anybody ever been there before? Okay, maybe that's just Dr. Shana. When I had a period in my life where I have felt that very same way, and maybe you have too. But I want you to understand, I want to give you a couple of tips right now that are going to help you realize when you may need some more boundaries and rules in your world, which has created what we just described, that overwhelm, that feeling stressed, that frustration, all of those things, that lack of productivity, maybe even irritability, because folks just get on your last nerve. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Where you're like, oh, if they come in here one more time, if this doesn't work out one more time, if they text me just one more time. And these can happen in your life side or your business side, family. So understand that your capacity to do the work we're talking about today is going to affect every aspect of your world, not just your business, not just your life, but both. Okay. And so some of the things that we know off top, right, where we really want to think about is boundaries in our time, because many of us have time that just gets lost, or we feel like we didn't get anything done. Anybody ever had that feeling before? Your workspace, your digital communication. Y'all know technology, child. When I say it's a wonderful thing, but it has absolutely created a sense of overwhelm for so many of us. How many of you are constantly getting text messages, constantly getting emails, constantly getting inundated with some form of communication on some digital device? That creates overwhelm. That creates a whole lot of the stuff that we're today going to learn how do we manage and deal with so we can show up in power, not just in our life, but also in our business. So here's a couple of tips. As you're thinking about and listening to what I'm saying today, how do you know if you're in a position where you may need to take a look at the boundaries you have, or you may need to reassess some things? Here goes a couple of things for you to think about. Number one, I want you to check your energy levels. Okay, so all of us in this space, I would assume, are either entrepreneurs, you're corporate leaders, you are a practitioner, you're an expert of some sort, and you find yourself working excessively, perhaps, and your energy might be really, 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 really low. If that's you, then we need to check in with that. See, low energy is an indicator that there's another issue that needs to be addressed. So think about that. On a scale of 1 to 10, what does your energy look like on a regular basis? Do you find yourself wiping out very early in the day? Do you get to the end of the day and you can't do anything but just pass out? Or are you high energy at all times and you are full throttle at all the times, right? And you don't even experience this bottom out that I'm describing right now. Maybe that's not you. But if you're on that bottom outside and you want to have more energy and you don't, you want to listen to what we're saying today. Maybe you have an issue with the time management or productivity. Now, people call it time management. That is not what Dr. Shana calls it. We don't manage time. Let me say this, because God created time. I can't manage something that I didn't create, but I can allocate time in a way that's more effective. If you are the one, let me see, I've heard this way too many times. There's no white space on my calendar. I don't have time to do these other things that I need to do. Where would I fit that in? Again, that creates your overwhelm. If you have a difficulty with allocating your time, then maybe you need to listen to some of the things we're talking about today. You also want to just check in with your feelings. So, family, one of the things that I know is our feelings are always at work. Are you feeling irritated, upset, frustrated, angry? Are you feeling happy, elated, excited? Now, maybe that means everything is great. But if you find yourself on the other side, we need to deal with that. So, as entrepreneurs, experts, and practitioners, we can't overlook the signs and symptoms that are showing themselves that are telling us, hey, pay attention. There's something here that you need to be aware of. Okay. So make sure you're attending to what your feelings are saying to you as well, too, because they're indicators. Another thing that you want to use as a rule of thumb, do I need to do some work in this area, is checking your work communication availability. Are you available all the time? Can people text you, email you, call you? You're answering the phone quickly and you're always on. Now, I want you to think about that. Always on. You're saying, Dr. Shana, I'm an entrepreneur. I meet a mouse in the house. Maybe you don't have a team. Maybe there's nobody else to answer the phone. I got it. And you feel like if you don't, then it won't happen. It won't get done. And maybe that's a true statement. But I want you to just to assess for me right now. How available are you? Are you on 80% of the time, 90% of the time, 100% of the time, 50% of the time? Just think about your availability to people and circumstances inside of your business. Is it a whole lot or is there some boundaries that you have? So I'm just asking you to consider these things, because if these things are coming up for you, then perhaps these may be areas that we want to work on today on creating some boundaries that then turn into what, family? Rules, right? Rules for other people, as well as sometimes we have to create rules for actions and things that we do. We'll get to that. And here's another option that we have in checking in is look for feedback. So there's people in your world who you know, love, and trust. Make sure, can I preface this? Make sure you're talking to the right people, okay? Some of us asking the wrong people questions who really are not the ones to ask. And then you get feedback that's not relevant or valuable. And then you get all flustered. No, ask the right people who actually know, care about you, and understand what you're doing, and ask them feedback. So how am I presenting? How from the outside looking in, what do you see? Because here's the reality. And I know this is the case for me as well. My family is a great mirror for me when I'm doing excessive too much, right? You can look to other people to say, what do you see that maybe I'm not seeing? Ask the question and be open for the feedback. So often we get, can't nobody else tell me. They really can't ultimately, but you can allow those thoughts or those opinions or that feedback to help give you some insight on maybe some blind spots that you and I have. Now, y'all know we can have some blind spots because we see what we want to see and we don't see what other people are sharing with us. Take it, consider it, connect it, and put it side by side with what you believe to be true, and then make a decision about the value of it. That's all I'm saying. It's a tool or tip you can use to determine, do you need to reevaluate your boundaries and also your rules? Okay. So those are some tips on ways you can check in to see if there's things that you may want to adjust. Okay. So now that we're in agreement, I'll say all of us at least have one. Can y'all give me one in the chat? We at least have one area. I gave several things, but we all at least have one. Okay. And I want you to just, as we're talking, put that one in your mind as we're going through this conversation. So your power moves for today are going to be creating the awareness of the boundaries that then turn into the rules. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of areas where boundaries can be created that turn into the rules that are going to help us to all create this work-life harmony. Remember, we're not looking for balance because ain't no 50-50 in this situation at all. Well, y'all see what happened, right? They told me that the light situation was better and clearly it wasn't. It's not 50-50. What it really is it may be 80-20 instead of 50-50. So what you want to make sure you do is what we're going to talk about next. Okay. All right, here we go. Do you need a boundary with your time? Do you need a boundary with your time? All right. If you do, let's talk about it. What does it look like? Now, I know so many of us have schedules that are packed. We got meeting after meeting after meeting. You're up from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock and it is packed. And there is what we like to call zero white space on your calendar. What I'm going to encourage you to think about today as a boundary is if you truly want to create time in your schedule, you're going to have to create a boundary that I will at least have 1 hour for myself for lunch during the day, that I will stop working at 5 o'clock so that I can get home and do some of the other things I desire to do. You have to decide what that looks like for you. Now, if you say that there's a cutoff time, that's an amazing boundary. But what that means is that there's a rule that goes with that. So if you say that I'm going to protect my 1 hour of lunchtime, then no one else as a rule can put an appointment during that time. That becomes a rule. If you say that I want to get off every day by 5 o'clock so that I can go home and do the other things that I want to do, then no one can come in and give you a task at 4 o'clock that's going to take you longer than 30 minutes to get done. It will have to wait till when, family? Tomorrow. Why? Because you've already decided that the boundary says that I am going to take the time that I need for myself. Okay. And until you create as a boundary, trust and believe, ain't nobody making it a rule for you. Okay. So that's one with time. Create space in your calendar so it is not so full that there is no room for you. It is a mistake many of us have made. I promise you. I know I have made it many times. And work. And at the end of the day, again, go back to that exhaustion we talked about earlier. And then we don't have any energy left for the people who we actually love, our family, or to do activities that we want to do because we gave it all on this job every single day, or in our business, which I'm not saying we don't need to give all, but we need to reserve something for ourselves. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's a time boundary. Maybe another boundary we talked about is accessibility. So I mentioned earlier, are you accessible all the time to people, email, phone calls, text messages, whatever the case may be? If you are available all the time, then it does not give you any downtime for yourself. So this kind of goes back to time as well too. But what do you want your accessibility boundary to look like? I want my accessibility to look like maybe I only check email twice a day. Maybe if I have work time that I'm dedicated to doing work, I am not checking texts. I'm not answering calls. I'm forwarding those things to other people so that I can focus. Like, we have to get in a place where we decide for ourselves, what do we need in order to be productive? What do we need in order to get where we say we want to get? Because if we don't, y'all tell me who is. Ain't nobody. I say ain't nobody coming to save you. They're not. They can't. It's your business. It's your job. You're the leader. You're the boss. You're the expert, and you have to make that happen for yourself. So consider what rules you need to have around accessibility. People cannot always have access to you because it doesn't give you an opportunity to stop and pour back into yourself. Okay. Being on 24/7 is not healthy in any kind of way at all. So I'm telling you right now, really consider that. That's a big one for sure. I'll give you another one, a boundary of your emotional self. So if you are walking into a space, and we said earlier, you are feeling the overwhelm of it all. You are feeling frustrated. You are feeling stressed out. You are feeling all those things, and you're feeling them often, more days than not. Then perhaps your boundary says, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm going to say refuse to walk around overwhelmed all the time in my own world by my own doing because I didn't set appropriate boundaries and rules. So if you decide that's not the thing that you want, then what is your rule around that? Maybe the rule becomes you don't take on other people's foolishness because I can't, because I got enough of my own. Maybe the rule becomes you're going to start asking for more help so that you don't find yourself overwhelmed with all of the things. You understand what I mean? You have to decide what's the rule that needs to be in place, because that is an important thing for you to uphold, to be emotionally well, be emotionally stable so that you can take care of you and finally get paid what you worth in life and business. What I'm saying getting paid in life means that I'm able to enjoy the world that I'm creating. Too often we work so hard, we don't make time for us to enjoy the fruit of the labor. And so you've done all of this, but you are worn out, you are exhausted, you are stressed out, and it wasn't even fun. So, what would be the purpose of doing all of this if you can't enjoy it? Okay. And maybe here's another thing for the overwhelm that you may be feeling is organize yourself. And I said this in another episode, but organizing yourself. One of my favorite books for organization is 18 Minutes by Peter Bregman. You can find it anywhere. And it's going to teach you how to put some things into quadrants and create a to-do list and all of those things. When you do that as a boundary and you make it as a rule for yourself in this situation that I am going to organize myself. And my rule is nobody can interrupt me until I've created my organization for the day. Then you're going to feel more productive at the end of it. I promise you, hands down, that in itself is a power move by itself. Okay. Another boundary that you may have is around sleep or exercise, or really just your overall sense of wellness and self-care. The things that you need to do that literally pour back into you. Your boundary is they are non-negotiable, and I will make sure that I get these things done. So it means that the rule becomes no one else gets to infringe upon that time. No one else gets to say they have something that's more important at that moment unless you choose to. But you have decided that your wellness, self-care, whatever it might be, maybe you get a massage once a week. Maybe you go to bed at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and you put do not disturb on your phone at 8 so you can get the rest. Maybe you decide that all TVs got to go off at a certain time in my entire house because I needed to be quiet for us to rest our minds. Whatever it may be for you, make room for that wellness and self-care activity by having it as a boundary that it's non-negotiable. And number two is the rule that other people can't come in and change it for you. Okay. So think about some of these things. I'm really hopeful that some of these things are resonating for you as you are on this journey, just like I am, to creating power moves, to building truly a bankable brand that allows you to finally get paid what you're worth in life and business. We all have so much to offer, but we will never get to fully see the potential if we haven't done this life side of work. I'm just saying, like, this is critical mass here. So a few other thoughts for you all, and get in the comments if you would, and just share which of these boundaries or rules really resonates for you. And maybe there's a different one that I didn't talk about that you you need to have in your world. Put that in the comments and let me know your thoughts about those as well too. The other thing that we really got to do, folks, is set realistic expectations. Sometimes our expectations are so big and so just, I ain't not saying we're not going to dream big, because I'm a dreamer, and I put your hand up in the air if you a big dreamer like me. If you are an amazing dreamer and that's all you know how to do, because that's what I do. I dream big. I'm a visionary. But what I'm saying is set realistic expectations, meaning for your time, your energy, and your resource on a day-to-day basis. Don't over anticipate what you have access to when really you need to rest, when really you need to say no, when really you need to ask for help, when really you need to organize yourself and take some stuff off of your schedule. Set realistic expectations, because you're human. No matter how amazing you are, you're human, family, for sure. Then communicate all of these boundaries. Really, the communication is really the rules. You don't have to communicate the boundaries because they're for you, but communicating the rules to other people. How do you tell them now? Don't go up. You know what? I'm gonna tell you what we're not gonna do. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And don't tell nobody. Dr. Shana told y'all to go and tell the people. Okay, don't do that. But you do want to tell people with open honesty and respect that here's the line for me. What I'm asking of you is you can share what's important to you. I value my wellness. I value my rest. I value my time. I value my energy. And so what I'm asking of you is fill in the blank, to no longer come and ask me to do anything that's going to take me longer than 30 minutes if it's after 4 o'clock, because I need to leave here at 5. I'm going to share with you that getting to bed at 10 o'clock is a priority for me. So I'm asking that if you need something from me, make sure you ask me before 9 o'clock, because I'm going to wind down that last hour. Communicate to other people in your world so they know where you stand. Okay. When you do that, you reduce conflict, because when you change up some stuff with folks who know you, who love you, they're like, whoa, that ain't how this go, girlfriend. My brother, that ain't what we've been doing. I got you. make sure you communicate with it, because I don't want no problems. I do not want y'all to come back episode number 6 and say, well, Dr. Shana, I did what you said and the people went off on me. No, that's not what I'm saying. Communicate it clear, honestly, and in a way that is respectful, so everyone is knowing what we're doing. Okay, so work-life balance, we're not looking for. Work-life harmony, integration, yes. You can be intentional about making the power moves that we've talked about today to make sure you walk into a space where you are leveraging your genius that is you to get paid what you're worth in life and business. I promise you the things we talked about will increase your output, will increase your productivity, will increase your energy, your focus, your creativity. All of those things will be impacted, and you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. Like, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. All of this is not for nothing. This podcast is for we can all show up in power and do the work we love, but also live the life that we dream at the same time. That's why I'm here, to share things with you so you can have both, what they call the best of the both worlds. Yes and yes. And so as we wrap up today's episode, I'm hopeful something stuck with you. There was something that resonated for you. There was a thought that you're like, you know what, Dr. Shana, that's a good one. Drop your nugget here in the comments. Go to social media and make a post and tag me in it with your power move of the day, whatever works for you. And I want to share with you the power move affirmation for today. I create boundaries and rules to thrive in my life and business. I create boundaries and rules to thrive in my life and business. That's an affirmation that you can begin reciting to yourself, reminding you why you need these boundaries and these rules. Now, just remember, folks, your capacity to make power moves is on you. If you are not making a move, trust me, a move is being made. Know that you can, you will, and you must, because the next power move, my family, the next power move is on you. So with that said, I want to make sure that you have enjoyed today's episode, but please like, share, subscribe, and comment on this video. Make sure you share with people in your world for them to come and view and be a part of this community. Get in the description and make sure you get your free gift. I have a 10X blueprint roadmap for you, completely complimentary. I would love for you to have it. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.